In 1954, a factory worker named Gerald Pitts sat down on a chrome stool at the SS Kresge lunch counter in downtown Detroit and ate a hot beef sandwich with mashed potatoes and brown gravy for 35 cents. He ate the same meal every Tuesday for 19 years. The woman behind the counter knew his order before he removed his coat. Number 22 on this list was so popular that Kresge lunch counters across America served more of it between noon and 1 o'clock than most modern restaurants serve of their entire menu in a full day. Number 13 was the dessert that department store shoppers in every city from Boston to Kansas City ordered after a morning of shopping, and that has not appeared on any lunch counter menu anywhere in America since 1981. And number 1, the Kresge meal that Gerald Pitts ate every Tuesday for 19 years, disappeared without announcement when the last Kresge lunch counter closed and took with it a tradition of feeding working Americans honestly and cheaply that this country has never replaced and never will. Here's what nobody tells you about the SS Kresge Company. Before it became Kmart, before the stores were converted and the lunch counters were torn out and the chrome stools were sold for scrap, the Kresge 5 and Dime was the most democratic restaurant in any American city. You did not need a reservation. You did not need a tie. You did not need more than $1. You walked in from the street, you sat on a stool at a counter that ran the length of the store, and a woman who had been standing on that same spot since 7 in the morning put a menu in front of you and called you Han and meant it. The food was made in a kitchen behind the counter by cooks who had been making the same dishes since the store opened and who understood that consistency was not a limitation but a promise. These 25 foods fed the American working class through the 1940s, the 1950s, and the 1960s. They cost almost nothing. They were made fresh every morning. They were served on oval plates by women who knew your order and your name and whether you wanted your coffee before or after your meal, and who never wrote any of it down. And they disappeared when Kresge became Kmart and the lunch counters were converted to sporting goods sections, and the women who ran them went home and the knowledge they carried went with them. Hit that subscribe button and let us count down the 25 forgotten Kresge lunch counter foods nobody serves anymore. Number 25, hot beef sandwich, open face, 2 slices of white bread laid flat on an oval plate, thin slices of roast beef shingled across the top, the whole thing drowned in brown gravy ladled from a pot that had been simmering on the back burner since 6 in the morning, mashed potatoes on the side. This was Gerald Pitts' Tuesday meal and the Tuesday meal of 100,000 working men in 100 Kresge stores across America. The roast beef was cooked Sunday night, sliced Monday morning, and served through Wednesday. The gravy was made from the drippings. Nothing was wasted. The whole plate cost 35 cents in 1954, and it was the closest thing to a home-cooked dinner that a man working a 12-hour shift could find at noon on a Tuesday. Number 24, grilled cheese sandwich. 2 slices of white bread, buttered on the outside, 2 slices of American cheese in the middle, pressed flat on a hot griddle until the bread turned golden and the cheese melted into an orange river that sealed the edges shut. It cost 20 cents in 1958 and came with a bowl of tomato soup for 30 cents combined. The sound of that sandwich hitting the griddle, the hiss of the butter, the smell of toasting bread was the soundtrack of every Kresge lunch counter in America. Children ate it after shopping with their mothers. Men ate it when they wanted something fast. The combination of grilled cheese and tomato soup was so universally ordered together that the counter women ladled the soup without being asked when a grilled cheese was ordered. Number 23, chicken pot pie. Individual chicken pot pies baked in the Kresge kitchen every morning, placed behind the counter still warm, served on oval plates with a side of green beans. The crust shattered when the fork hit it. The filling inside was thick with real chicken, carrots, peas, and a cream sauce made from the chicken stock the birds had cooked in. A pot pie cost 25 cents in 1960. It was the lunch that women shoppers ordered when they wanted something substantial after a morning on their feet, and it was the lunch that counter women ate themselves on their break because it was the best thing on the menu and they knew it. Number 22, beef stew. A bowl of actual beef stew. Chunks of real beef braised until fork tender, carrots and potatoes added late so they held their structure, thick brown gravy that had been building flavor since the morning, served with a square of cornbread on the side. It cost 20 cents in 1955. The stew pot sat on the back burner all morning and was replenished throughout the lunch service, and by 2 in the afternoon, the bottom of the pot held the best stew of the day because the flavor had concentrated and deepened with every hour of cooking. Kresge beef stew was so consistently popular that it appeared on every lunch counter menu in every store in every city without variation for 30 years. Number 21, macaroni and cheese. Real cheddar. Real elbow macaroni cooked al dente, folded into a thick cheese sauce, topped with breadcrumbs, and baked until the top formed a golden crust and the inside stayed creamy. It cost 15 cents in 1957. It was the meal that children requested and that adults ordered without embarrassment, because at a Kresge lunch counter, nobody ordered with embarrassment and nobody judged what anyone else was eating. The macaroni and cheese appeared at noon and was gone by 1:30 because it was made in a single batch every morning, and the batch was sized for the lunch rush, and the lunch rush always finished it. Number 20, hot turkey sandwich. Open face, just like the hot beef, but with sliced turkey breast over white bread smothered in turkey gravy, served with cranberry sauce from a can on the side, and a scoop of mashed potatoes. It cost 35 cents in 1962, and it appeared on Kresge lunch counter menus from November through March because turkey was cheap in winter, and the gravy was made from the carcass, and nothing was ever wasted at a Kresge lunch counter. Men who had eaten it once came back specifically for it every winter. Women who remembered it from childhood ordered it to recreate something they could not name. Number 19, liver and onions. Beef liver soaked in milk overnight to pull the bitterness, sliced thin, dredged in seasoned flour, and fried fast in a hot cast iron skillet with caramelized onions piled on top. Served with mashed potatoes and white bread to soak up the pan juices. It cost 25 cents in 1956. The Kresge lunch counter was one of the last places in America where a working man could order liver and onions without explanation or apology and eat it at a counter beside other men eating the same thing, and nobody thought anything of it. When Kresge closed, the working man's lunch counter closed with it, and liver and onions retreated to a handful of diners where it survives today as a curiosity rather than a staple. Here is what the Kresge company never understood about its own lunch counters. They were not a service. They were not an amenity designed to keep shoppers in the store longer, though they did that too. They were the reason certain people came to Kresge at all. Gerald Pitts did not come to Kresge on Tuesdays to buy anything. He came for the hot beef sandwich and the woman who knew his order and the chrome stool that was the right height for a man his size and the coffee that came without asking and the 19 minutes of not being required to be anything other than a man eating lunch at a counter that knew his name. When the Kresge company decided to convert to Kmart and tear out the lunch counters, they calculated the square footage those counters occupied and determined that sporting goods generated more revenue per square foot than hot beef sandwiches. They were correct. They were also wrong in a way that no spreadsheet has ever been designed to measure. Number 18, egg salad sandwich. Hard-boiled eggs chopped fine with a fork, mixed with Hellmann's mayonnaise, a pinch of salt, a grind of black pepper, spread thick on white bread. The lunch counter version that smelled like every school cafeteria and church basement in America. 2 eggs per sandwich, made fresh every morning, cost 20 cents in 1959. It offended no one. Children ate it. Grandmothers ate it. Construction workers ate 2 of them with a bowl of soup. The egg salad was the Switzerland of the Kresge lunch counter menu. Completely neutral, universally accepted, made the same way every morning by a woman who had been making it the same way since the counter opened. Number 17, tuna salad sandwich. Canned tuna drained and flaked with a fork, mixed with mayonnaise, diced celery, a squeeze of lemon, served on white bread with a leaf of iceberg lettuce and a pickle spear. It cost 20 cents in 1960 and appeared on every Kresge lunch counter menu in every city in every state because tuna was cheap and filling, and the Catholic families who could not eat meat on Fridays made Kresge their Friday lunch destination specifically because the tuna salad was made correctly and cost almost nothing, and the counter woman never made anyone feel conspicuous for ordering it. Number 16, chili. A bowl of Kresge chili was not elaborate. Ground beef, kidney beans, canned tomatoes, chili powder, onion, simmered all morning in a pot on the back burner, served with crackers in a sleeve and a square of cornbread if you asked. It cost 15 cents in 1958. The chili was the meal that counter women recommended on cold days and that working men ordered when they needed something that would stay with them through an afternoon of physical labor. Kresge chili was not memorable for being exceptional. It was memorable for being exactly what it said it was every single time without variation, which in the American lunch counter tradition was not a low standard. It was the highest standard there was. Number 15, BLT. 3 strips of bacon fried until the fat went translucent and the edges curled crisp, laid on white toast with mayonnaise, iceberg lettuce cold from the icebox, and a thick slice of summer tomato. It cost 25 cents in 1962. The BLT was the Kresge lunch counter's only concession to freshness. Everything else was cooked or canned or processed, but the BLT demanded a real tomato, and in summer, when the tomatoes came from local suppliers, the BLT at the Kresge lunch counter was the finest thing on the menu, and everyone who worked the counter knew it. Women ordered it specifically in July and August, and the counter women told them when the good tomatoes had come in without being asked. Number 14, pimento cheese sandwich. At Kresge lunch counters in the American South, pimento cheese was not a condiment. It was a religion. Sharp cheddar grated by hand, mixed with diced pimentos and Duke's mayonnaise and a pinch of cayenne, spread thick on white bread. It cost 20 cents in 1961. The recipe varied slightly at every Southern Kresge location because the counter woman at each store made it herself from a base recipe that she had adjusted over time to suit her own judgment and the preferences of her regulars. When Kresge standardized their lunch counter supply chain in the late 1960s and moved to pre-made sandwich fillings from central kitchens, the pimento cheese was one of the first things to change, and the regulars who had been ordering it for years stopped ordering it within 1 season. Number 13, butterscotch pudding. made from scratch in the Kresge kitchen every morning. Butter and brown sugar cooked together until caramelized, whole milk added, egg yolks stirred in, everything thickened over low heat until the pudding set and was poured into individual ceramic cups to chill. A cup cost 10 cents in 1960. It was the dessert that department store shoppers ordered after a morning of shopping, and it was the dessert that made the Kresge lunch counter feel like a place that cared about what it served rather than simply a place that served. The butterscotch pudding disappeared from Kresge menus when the Central Kitchen Supply Program replaced scratch-made desserts with purchased pudding products, and the regulars who had been ordering it every week stopped coming on the specific days they had come for the pudding. Number 12, rice pudding. Short grain rice cooked low and slow in whole milk with vanilla and sugar until every grain dissolved into a thick, creamy custard with a golden skin on top that crinkled when you touched it with a spoon. A cup cost 10 cents in 1958. It appeared behind the lunch counter every afternoon and disappeared before the end of the lunch rush because nobody could resist it. Veterans who had eaten military rations for years ordered it specifically because it tasted like something their mothers had made, and the Kresge version was close enough to that memory to be worth a dime in the 10 minutes it took to eat it at the counter before going back to whatever the afternoon required. Number 11, apple pie. Not the apple pie that exists today in chain restaurants. A real apple pie made from real apples sliced thick and barely sweetened so the apple flavor came through rather than being buried under sugar. A lard crust that shattered when the fork touched it. A slice cost 15 cents in 1959 and was served with a scoop of vanilla ice cream if you asked, and most people asked. The Kresge lunch counter apple pie appeared on the menu every day and was made every morning in the kitchen behind the counter and tasted of the season it came from in a way that no purchased pie from a commercial bakery has ever managed, because commercial bakeries do not make pie from this season's apples. They make pie from last season's apples stored in a warehouse, and the difference is not subtle. Number 10, coconut cream pie. A deep dish of egg custard barely set and trembling when the plate moved, made with real coconut milk and topped with a thick layer of toasted coconut that had been pressed into the custard before chilling, so it became part of the filling rather than just a topping. A slice cost 15 cents in 1963. The Kresge coconut cream pie was made from a recipe that the woman who ran the lunch counter kitchen had brought with her when she was hired, and that she had been making for 15 years before she came to Kresge, and that she made better than anyone had ever made it before or has made it since. When she retired in 1971, the recipe retired with her because she had never written it down and nobody had thought to ask her to. Number 9, chocolate cake. A 2-layer chocolate cake made from scratch in the Kresge kitchen, frosted with a chocolate buttercream that had been made that morning from real butter and real cocoa and powdered sugar. A slice cost 15 cents in 1961. The cake appeared on the lunch counter every day and was gone by mid-afternoon because it was made in a single layer pan sized for the lunch service, and the lunch service always finished it. Women who had eaten it remembered it for decades. Not because it was the finest chocolate cake they had ever tasted, though some of them said it was, but because it appeared every day at a counter that cost a dime to sit at, and it was made with care by people who understood that a slice of chocolate cake at noon on a Wednesday was not a luxury. It was a small act of dignity made available to anyone who could find 35 cents for lunch. Number 8, hot dog. A real beef frankfurter in a steamed bun with mustard and relish available at the counter. It cost 15 cents in 1957. The hot dog appeared on the Kresge lunch counter menu because children needed something to order when they were shopping with their mothers, and the hot dog was the obvious answer. And Kresge understood that a family needed to be able to feed every person at the counter without financial strain, and 15 cents was within the reach of every family that walked through the door. When Kresge converted to Kmart and removed the lunch counters, the child who wanted a hot dog while shopping was no longer served, and the family that included that child had one less reason to come and eventually found somewhere else to go. Number 7, cream of tomato soup. Campbell's tomato soup made from the can but finished with a slash of whole cream that turned it from red to pale orange and rounded the acidity into something warmer and richer than the soup that came out of the can. A bowl cost 10 cents in 1958 and came automatically alongside any sandwich order that did not already include a side. The counter woman added the cream without mentioning it because it was simply how it was done at that counter and had been done since the first day the counter opened. When the Central Kitchen Supply Program standardized the soup and eliminated the cream addition in the interest of consistency, the regulars who had been ordering it for years noticed within 1 week. Number 6, banana cream pie. Real pastry cream made from egg yolks and whole milk and vanilla, poured over sliced bananas in a butter crust and topped with real whipped cream that had been whipped that morning. A slice cost 15 cents in 1962. The bananas were sliced fresh each morning, and the pie was assembled in the kitchen before the counter opened and placed in the cold case where it was visible to everyone who sat down at the counter. The visibility was intentional. A pie that could be seen was a pie that would be ordered, and the Kresge lunch counter woman who ran the kitchen understood the psychology of appetite in a way that no marketing department has ever improved upon. Number 5, ham and bean soup. A leftover ham bone simmered all morning with dried navy beans and an onion until the beans dissolved into the broth and the broth pulled every remaining molecule of smoky flavor from that bone, thick enough to stand a spoon in, served with a square of cornbread. A bowl cost 15 cents in 1959. The ham bone was free, already paid for by last week's ham that had appeared on the counter as a special. The beans cost almost nothing. The soup cost 15 cents because that was what the lunch counter customer could afford, and the Kresge company understood that feeding people within their means was not charity. It was commerce done correctly. Number 4, chicken noodle soup, not from a can. Made from a whole chicken simmered in water with celery and onion and carrot until the broth turned deep gold and the chicken fell from the bone. The chicken was pulled and returned to the broth with egg noodles cooked separately and added at service. A bowl cost 15 cents in 1960. The soup appeared on the Kresge lunch counter every day and was ordered most heavily in winter when the women who had been shopping in cold streets for 2 hours needed something warm before they could face the bus ride home. The soup was that thing. It was the reason certain women planned their shopping trips to arrive at Kresge at noon. Number 3, strawberry shortcake. A real shortcake. A biscuit, not a sponge cake. Split and filled with fresh strawberries macerated in sugar and topped with real whipped cream applied from a real cream dispenser. It appeared on the Kresge lunch counter menu in late spring and disappeared in midsummer when the strawberry season ended, and its arrival was noted by regulars the way other people know the first warm day of the year. A portion cost 20 cents in 1963. The shortcake biscuit was made in the kitchen from a recipe that had not changed since the counter opened. When Kresge moved to a purchased biscuit product in the late 1960s, the shortcake survived briefly before the regulars stopped ordering it because a purchased biscuit was not the same thing and they knew it immediately. Number 2, the blue plate special. Every day, a different complete meal. Protein, starch, vegetable, bread, dessert for 45 cents. Monday was pot roast with mashed potatoes and green beans. Tuesday was the hot beef sandwich. Wednesday was chicken pot pie. Thursday was liver and onions. Friday was tuna casserole. The blue plate special was the meal that working people planned their lunch around because it was the most food available for the least money at any sitting establishment in any American city in any decade between 1940 and 1970. The woman who planned the weekly blue plate rotation at each Kresge location did so based on what was cheapest that week at the local suppliers and what her regulars most requested and what she could make well. And the combination of those 3 considerations produced something that no corporate menu planning department has ever replicated, because no corporate menu planning department has ever been required to care about all 3 things simultaneously. Number 1, the counter itself. This was not a food. It was the system that made every food on this list taste better than it would have anywhere else. A length of Formica counter. Chrome stools bolted to the floor at intervals calculated so that 2 people could sit side by side without touching, but close enough that conversation was possible if both parties wanted it. An oval plate. A ceramic coffee cup. A woman who called you hon and meant it, and who remembered how you took your coffee after your second visit, and who never made you feel like your 35-cent lunch was less important than someone else's $3 lunch, because at the Kresge lunch counter, there was no $3 lunch. Everyone paid the same. Everyone got the same food. Everyone sat on the same stools. Gerald Pitts ate his last hot beef sandwich at the Kresge lunch counter in downtown Detroit in 1976 when the location converted to a Kmart and the counter was removed. He was 53 years old. He had been eating that sandwich every Tuesday for 19 years. He did not find another lunch counter that made it the same way. He ate at his desk after that and said the food was fine and meant that it was not fine, and knew the difference between those 2 things in a way that he could never quite explain to anyone who had not sat on a chrome stool at a Kresge lunch counter and been called hon by a woman who already had his coffee waiting. Make one of these this week. The hot beef sandwich. The open-faced roast beef with brown gravy from the drippings over white bread with mashed potatoes on the side. Sit down at your kitchen table and eat it slow and come back and tell me if it was just lunch or if there was something in it that tasted like the kind of place this country used to make for people who needed somewhere to sit down and eat honestly for 35 cents and be treated like they mattered, because they did matter, and the counter that told them so is gone, and we have not built anything to replace it. Drop in the comments if you ever ate at a Kresge lunch counter. I want to know what city and what you ordered and what year it was, because these were not just lunch counter foods. They were the proof that feeding people well and feeding people cheaply and treating them with dignity while you did, it was not a contradiction. It was just Tuesday.